Okay, so this is a really short video on a product comparison for two UK available child car seats. These are car seats that I own, and we have them for essentially one. We've got two children, but we've got it for essentially one child. We rotate between two separate cars, and really the difference between the two car seats is pretty big in my opinion in terms of how easy they are to use. Price wise, there, excuse the crumbs, but this is why it's a real life video. The price difference is not that vast, and there wasn't much to choose between them when we were buying them. But having got them both now, there is definitely a clear winner, and I just wanted to put that out there for other people that might be in the same situation, toying up these two options. They are the only car seats I've used, so I can't compare them out against any other models on the market. But we've got the Nuna Rebl, so that's Rebl, which was a bit of an unknown for us at the time. It was quite new, but it had good reviews. And then we've got the Maxi-Cosi Assix fix. In short, if you don't want to listen to the rest of the video, for me, the clear winner is definitely the Maxi-Cosi by far. Little things like these straps that when you take the child out and you can hook into here, this little guy here, and the little latch just hangs over. You can see it makes it a lot easier for the child to get into. This whole thing rotates and faces that way. Just putting them in and out, it makes it really, really easy. Now, the Nuna does have that, the Rebl does have that, but it uses this system here where basically the sort of the clip nestles into there, and it's much lower down. So what actually happens is the strap is almost too low. So you can see there where the child's shoulders will go in, which is there. I have to then untuck these from our daughter to get them out. And it's raining, she's tired, she doesn't want to go in the car seat. The last thing you want to do is be messing around with these, and these hardly actually ever sit in there, to be honest. So actually I never use it now, and it's always just like that. But if you did use it when we first got it, because we actually bought this first, so when we started using it and strapping those in, this guy goes in and sits in there. That's the principle of it, but it's just too low. And even if you pull that up high, it still doesn't make a difference. It's still far too low. So that's one real big thing. Now, little things like this is a metal on the Rebl, which you wouldn't think anything of it. And on the Nuna, they're actually, well, I dare say it's probably got some metal in there somewhere, but it's coated with plastic. And on really hot days, this bit of metal gets insanely hot. And we had a couple of times when my wife put our little one in there and it hit her. She had shorts on, obviously, because it was hot, and put her thighs in it, and it was, I touched it with my hands, and it was hot to the touch with my adult hands. So again, little things like that are just frustrating. They didn't think about that. In terms of actually using the clip system, both really, really simple. You just connect them both up and shove them into the system. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with this on the Nuna. Works perfectly fine. In terms of actually getting them out and using them, they both have this sort of reclining mode, which is really handy if you want to get your child off to sleep. So they both do that, which is really handy. And to be honest, there's no real difference there on both of them. I'd say the Isofix, the Maxi-Cosi, is a little bit simpler to use. And then they both rotate each way, so you can change the system here, and the Maxi-Cosi can go that way or can go that way, depending on which side of the car you want to put it on. They both can rear face. And they both face forward. We've got them both face forward just in this video, just to make it easier to show. Then if I go around the side, one of the big things for me on the Rebl, the reason why it's a pain, is when you engage the Isofixes, they don't fully engage. Now, it might be something that's a usability thing, but I've had a good look around it, and I don't see a way that's very easy to figure it out. But this thing here, it's hard to do it while I'm holding the camera. It comes out about another 4 or 5 inches, and it pops into this. Now, as soon as it locks down, it locks into that position. So what you often find is with the Nuna, it often sits about there rather than actually sitting right in. It never sits this base right against the cushion, which means that this is sticking against the chair. Now, we've got an Audi A3, which is just about doable, but if you had a smaller car, maybe a Fiesta or something, what you'd find is the width of that car seat would be permanently hitting either the back of your driver's seat or the back of your passenger seat. So that again is a bit of a frustration. It's just a big beast. It's a much bigger device than the Maxi-Cosi, and it doesn't support bigger children by any means. It's because this, and it may be the fact that I'm not doing it correctly, but again, I'm just a standard user. I've been using it for a couple of years now. If it doesn't do it easily, then in my opinion, it doesn't work. Then this bit of plastic never touches the cushion because it just can't engage that far down. The other thing is that to actually release the isofixes on this, it's very frustrating because it's all one mechanism, whereas on the Maxi-Cosi it's two separate systems. I'll show you in a minute. So that means to actually release this, you've got to press that button down there and do that. That's fine on this side if you've got one hand free or two hands free, but when you have to go around the other side, you have to literally lean over all the way around here, then you're upside down, and if you've got passengers or not that, and you do the same here. Now doing that with both hands at that stage is very difficult. So what you've got to do is sort of, you know, I'm 36 years old and I'm pretty fit, but I can easily do it. If I were, you know, older or more fragile or more not so flexible, I'd find it very hard. And when you release that, what happens is you pull this one away, and when you move this, the other one re-engages. So then you come back around here, and because it's one system, this one then, because the whole thing moves, he then re-engages, which is, I'm telling you, I've done this now about 3 or 4 times where it's engaged each time, maybe half a dozen times, and it's, you know, hot, it's raining, or whatever it may be, it's not convenient, and you get more and more irritated. Now if we look at the Maxi-Cosi, for example, it's a very simple system. Again, it's still safe because you only need to use one hand for it, but to release the isofix, you can see it's engaged there. You pull this lever, you push that down. They're all a bit of a pain, to be honest. And then he releases. Now that yellow bar is completely independent of the other yellow bar, okay? So when you reach over with this one, bear in mind the other one's already disengaged now, you just press him down, release him, bit of a wiggle, and he comes out. And the whole thing now is released. Really easy. And I'm doing this with one hand, holding the camera. I would not be able to do that with the Nuna, which is why I didn't even bother leaving it clipped in. One big difference with the two, it doesn't really make it doesn't actually make a usable difference, is the Maxi-Cosi has a tether. So if you're like us and you've got a hatchback, you need to tether the Maxi-Cosi to your tether points. They're normally on the back of the seats or down the bottom. Again, we've got a hatchback, not a problem. I've also got a sedan or a saloon car, and there's a tether point on the parcel shelf, which is absolutely fine. The Nuna actually has a leg, so the Nuna doesn't have a tether point. Again, this might be beneficial to some people, I don't know. For me, it makes absolutely no difference. Depends what car you've got. So with the Nuna, you've got this. There's no tether, but you've got this leg. Okay, and that comes out. Now I actually find this really irritating. Again, it's one of the annoyances of it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I just mean for me personally, I don't like it. So you have to adjust this to the size of your car or the footwell of your car. It makes, I don't know if this one makes it heavier, but this is definitely a heavier unit than a Maxi-Cosi. So just getting it in and out is a pain. We haven't got a huge car. Like I say, we've got an Audi A3 Sportback, so it has got 5 doors, but it's just a pain. And then getting this lowered is a real pain. And I have about maybe 10 or 11 times caught my finger in this, and it is really painful. So the fact that I've already sort of made my opinion out of my decision of which one I prefer, every time I get my finger caught in that, you know, I use a lot of 4-letter words, hence why I've sort of made this video. The reasons of making this video are that we didn't see much difference between these two when we bought them. Having used them, you know, it is so clearly obvious that there is a clear winner. Having said that, my wife doesn't mind the Nuna, mainly because she only puts the children in and out of it. I'm the one that has to then, you know, if you're a dad watching this video in terms of getting some advice on which car seat to buy, I'm the one, as you may well be, has to move this in and out of the vehicles quite regularly, depending on if you're switching cars over and stuff like that. So I find it more irritating than my wife. So, you know, being fair about it, my wife doesn't find this one a problem. She also doesn't find the Maxi-Cosi a problem. Price-wise, I wouldn't want to say, I think they were roughly the same, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an opinion, or maybe a view of which one's best. But for me, it's pretty obvious.